and the Reinventing YouTube. Let me jump to my script. If this is working for you, please let us know in the chat room or the comment section of where you're watching. In fact, what you are currently watching is Machines, Magnetism, and Mayhem, and this is the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. It is Wednesday, May 18th at 10 a.m. I believe that's the third Wednesday of the month, which is when this show happens live. So I'm going to let you know a little bit about the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. As the streams go out, please give it a share. Like I said, leave some comments. And we don't have any ads throughout the show. So after this intro, then it's just all tattoo machine talk. So this, sorry, let me get back to my script here. It's still early. Welcome to DiGiacinto's Reinventing the Tattoo community, where tattoo artists, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are all encouraged to join these live streams, to catch the replays, ultimately to inspire each other to create better art, tools, and tattoos together. We're beaming out pretty much every day, 5 days a week, and with your help, have turned into what pretty much seems like a network of awesome tattoo shows full of, well, I guess real tattoo people doing real tattoo things. Anyways, it's a lot of fun. Thank you very much for leaving the rave reviews out in the public, constructive criticisms and ideas and whatnot, management at reinventingthetattoo.com. So places that you may want to find the Reinventing the Tattoo network and community, either of the app stores, that's the Apple App Store or the Google Play, do a search for Reinventing the Tattoo. There is the YouTube channel where we beam out live and have all of the replays there on YouTube. So check it out, Reinventing the Tattoo YouTube, click the subscribe and the bell to be aware, you know. Let's see, we are on Roku. So if you have one of the smart TVs, the Roku, you could download the Reinventing the Tattoo channel. And we have, I think, 15 channels going at any given time, including a Tattoo Machines channel. So if you're sick of the Netflix reruns, or it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're not sure, you can go to, and you have Roku, then you can check out the Tattoo Machine panel and probably watch some of these guys chatting on one of the replays. And actually, speaking of all the different places, you could also just go straight to the homepage of Reinventing the Tattoo, and you don't actually need Roku to see the whole thing here. Let me, I am screen sharing the Reinventing. Okay, come on now. Sorry, give me 2 more seconds here. Aha. Okay. Boom. So the homepage of Reinventing the Tattoo has the latest schedule of all of the replays. There's a free resources section, and the free tattoo courses is not how to tattoo for free, of course, but one of them that you should absolutely be checking out is the history of electric tattooing. It's been put together by Jay Brown, has been submitting tremendous amounts of awesome lessons and materials. And as you can see, this is pretty much all of that history that you're complaining people don't know about. If you click down, watch Reinventing 24/7, it's going to beam you down here to what I was talking about before. So you don't need to have Roku, you could just go to the homepage of Tattoo Now, and we have all these replays. So this is the philosophy of tattooing with a professor of philosophy, Laura Sizer. She's awesome. And this is an interview with DiGiacinto that we did last year about the philosophy of tattooing. And you see here all of our other channels, the Reinventing Drawing Group. So this is an old one, maybe 2 years ago. Every Monday morning, we have artists who beam in and do their drawing homework together. There's the Art Jam channel, the Tattoo Collecting Podcast channel, the Global channel. So if you speak Spanish or know somebody, there's a whole channel here just in Spanish programming. Tattoo Weekly, the Live in the Castro, and here we go, Tattoo Machines. Oh, we're gonna get some kind of Inception-y thing going on here. So these are previous Tattoo Machine talks. So point is, yeah, you could watch all this stuff 24/7 if you're in the middle of the night. Courses here will have all of the professional development courses for tattooers and apprentices, including the Reinventing the Tattoo Canon. This is authored and founded by DiGiacinto, but it also includes tons of guest artists and guest authors. So the foundation is, hasn't really changed, right? The fundamentals, but of course, tattooing is growing, but yeah, guys busy updating all the chapters. So whether you're catching the evolution or the canon, It is always being updated by Guy. And you'll see here we have Evolution is a weekly class that is enrollment opens up in 2 weeks from now. So it opens up June 1st, $50 a month. Everybody takes the classes together. It's like a guided tour with a large group of like-minded tattoo artists. It's pretty awesome. If you are the type that wants to just binge watch it all right away and not wait each week to get the new lessons and exercises, the Canon is for you. And we have a gazillion other courses. Actually, it's probably like 20. It's pretty impressive. Nick Baxter, he's going to be doing his full holistic approach. That's coming right up this Friday. It's awesome. Nick Baxter has, well, you want to see it. You want to check it out. We've got some replays. This is Bob Tyrell's replays. And let's see, because this is the Machines and Madness, you are definitely interested in getting Tony Urbanek's How to Build a Paul Rogers Style Prefab Tattoo Machine. And Tony takes you through the course of, I think it's 8 weeks, 8 different parts. Each of them range from about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And you can build a tattoo machine alongside Tony. It's pretty out of control. Okay. I got 2 or 3 minutes to hammer through the rest of this. We have live events coming up this weekend. Is the Hell City Tattoo Festival, hellcity.com. That's May 20th to the 22nd. You might be watching the replay on this one though, but in any event, hellcity.com, June 10th to the 12th. Ink Mania Tattoo Expo, that's down in St. Pete, Florida, right next to the Dolly Museum. I think we're going to be doing a tour of the Dolly Museum, and there is one of the tattoo contests is sponsored by the Dolly Museum, so there's a best Dolly tattoo category in the contest there. And then July 29th to the 31st in Akron, Ohio is the very first Rubber City Tattoo Invitational, hosted by none other than Tony Urbanek. And then, there's another Hell City in August in Arizona and in Phoenix. October 21st to the 23rd is Richmond. And I think we might sneak in another inspiring tour if people want. Our sponsors that make this programming available to you is, starts with Raw Pigments, rawpigments.co. They've been a sponsor of the Reinventing Network for a year and a half, 2 years now since the beginning. And you can, check it out, rawpigments.co. Their inks are acrylic free. They don't dry out in the cup. I don't know if that's the reason why not, but one way or another, you should definitely check them out. There's a lot of interviews with Lauren and their artists. And it's pretty fun to see them catch. Not just because they advertise, but because people try them out and they dig them. WorldTattooEvents.com is Alex Van Dutch's website for over 10 years. He has had the most comprehensive website that has information for tattoo conventions. WorldTattooEvents.com. Definitely check it out if you're interested in, tattoo conventions, right? They happen all over the world, and these days they're changing. The dates are coming fast and furious. So check it out. TattooNow.com, that's me. I do computer geeky stuff for tattoo supply companies and services, for studios, big and small, for tattoo artists. I'll do websites for, apprentice types of them. Check it out, TattooNow.com, GabeRipley.com. And then last but not least, and actually first for the Reinventing the Tattoo Network is Guy Aitchison. He's the reason why we're here. The paintings are Guy's. You could check out Aitchison.com. He's got original art, also tattoo machines and prints books. The Biomech Encyclopedia, which is around here somewhere, is out of control. Anyways, GuyAitchison.com, we all can't thank him enough. He is the reason why a lot of us are here to inspire each other, right? He's always made sure that not only does he present kind of what he knows, but he wants to encourage participation. And I guess lastly, if you are a Reinventing the Tattoo subscriber, or if you're just watching, catch us at Hell City. We have a whole Reinventing the Tattoo room there, and there's the whole set of programming just for reinventing watchers and stuff. Most of it'll be free. We'll have some subscriber only exercises. So this is where I get to hop in the background and see if it was working. Hopefully that was working. How goes it, Tony and crew?
Good morning, everybody.
Tony, Greg, Kevin, and everybody. I'm going to remove myself from the spotlight. I'm going to hop in the background, and I might chime in sometimes with some messages from the forums. But other than that, have a great show. I'm always excited to listen in on this.
I like your hat, Gabe. I just picked up on that. Morning, everybody.
Yes, Mr. CC, Gabriel CC, Studio Evolve.
That's our fucking boy.
That's our
Awesome.
boy.
Love that dude.
Agreed
Love
wholeheartedly.
Gabe
Can we chat real quickly about when we met Gabe? I met him at the Woodstock Tattoo Festival that Bruce Bart put on. Fucking, I don't know, whenever he put that on, it was he took over the Woodstock town, so it was completely 100% my kind of convention. Like it was like. I mean, it was like tattooing in the coffee shop and tattooing in the bookstore and tattooing in the pub in the back room. It was like all over town. But anyways, that's when I met Gabriel at CC, and yeah, I've been working with him on and off since.
Love that dude.
StudioEvolve.com, always hiring, or not always hiring, always growing, always looking for good people.
Always growing.
Always hiring.
He's very tall now. He's very tall. Or very wide.
He's 15 and a half feet tall now. Okay, I relinquish the floor. Cheers.
Yeah, I met Gabe on that old Ink Nation page. I remember seeing his photo, and it was just like it said Virginia Beach, and it was a picture of his head, and it just looked like these bursts of like dreadlocks. And I never met him in person until I did the first Richmond show. And he's like, "Hey man, I'm Gabriel." And he walked up to me, and I looked at him like, "No, you're not." So I thought you had dreadlocks. He's like, "Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Look at my picture." And he showed it to me, and I was like, "Oh, it was like a sunburst, but it looked like dreadlocks shooting out of his head from every direction." Yeah, I felt real dumb.
I remember that one,
dude. He's a cool dude.
Hey,
anyhow, good morning, everybody. I'm Tony Urbanek, and this is Machine Magnetism Mayhem, and I'm here with my co-host and crazy friend, Greg DiGiacinto.
Smith.
Greg DiGiacinto.
Changing it to Smith.
It's Greg Smith.
Fucking complicated.
I did that on purpose, you know.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Anyhow, this is part 2 of the Kevin Riley Super Show, and we'd like to welcome Kevin. I'm
What's
not
up,
going
Kev?
to say anybody's name this morning. Welcome Kevin back. Morning, Kev.
All right. Howdy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. How you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Same old here.
Always in the shop. Always grinding.
Yep.
Dude, I have
4 days a week.
I have to reiterate, every time I open my phone and Instagram pops up, you own my feed, dude. Just with the coolest stuff ever. It's always ever changing. Like you
high volume, awesome shit all the time.
High volume, evolving.
Effortless action.
Yes.
Always.
The machine.
I appreciate it. I try to stay busy, and I get bored, so I do different stuff a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't know. It's not so different anymore. I feel like I've settled into somewhat of a aesthetic. They look more the same now than ever before.
Yeah, well, that's good. Consistency is great. You know, when you start to see something and you're comfortable with how they're turning out, you know, whether it be finishes or, you know, frame construction, or even like, how your parts look, like you can look at like one of your tattoo machines and know that you build it, you know, which I think is pretty cool. Like you've developed your own style, you know. Is there any, like, what's the inspiration for like what you go for, like your your style of tattoo machine building?
And I like tattoo machines. Like I like tattoos. I just really want it to look like a tattoo machine. I'm not really I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel at all. I pretty much just do classic shapes. I do prefer sort of weirder colors. So like I'm a child of the 90s, and so I surely like brighter colors and Paul Rogers fades. Paul Rogers fade is my favorite finish. So
yeah, same here.
Are you doing a lot of spray can stuff like Paul, or are you doing powder coating, or do you do a mixture of both?
The powder coat of I powder coat all of the fades. I do a
Okay.
couple of I started doing some crackles and some marble finishes, and those are different paints that are not powder coat spray paint and like liquid enamels and stuff. But 90% of what I do, if it's a weird fade, it's powder coat. I just figured out a way to do it pretty reliably.
Yeah. They're like seamless color fades, which is cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I spent a lot of time around Carl Bernalt in the early 2000s, and he was real big into the color fade, and
Mhm.
I always wanted to do it, but Carl had a crazy like local body shop painter that he used to take the machines and drop them off to. So that guy painted these fades that were like incredible fades with like, the highest end paint under like 10 layers of clear. They were really wild. And I always wanted to get that look, but I don't have the mental ability to spend that much time on it, like
Yeah.
or to take it across town and drop it off to somebody. So I just figured out a way I could sort of game that look out of the powder coat, and you can start it and finish it in 20 minutes and put
Right.
it together as soon as it's cool to the touch.
Yeah. Looks great. Is this one right here? That's powder coat?
Yeah, that's powder coat.
Looks great.
I think that's like a bubblegum pink with like a candy sparkle purple over top of it.
I know it's like it's crazy what you can do with different textures of paint, I really I love all that stuff, but if I was using a tattoo machine, I want a kind of like a raw one. Like if it's just for me.
Yeah, I mean those are the two sides of the coin. It's always the person who wants it wild, or the person who wants it to look like a tool. And so
Well,
I feel like every week I either
they're-
have
I think there's a third aspect, like the person that wants it crusty too. Just like there's
I don't
like
really do crusty.
no. I could do crusty, but there's like masters of crust.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I'm one of them,
I don't really like faux finishes. So
Yeah.
like if somebody wants it crusty, just take the oil dipped one and then be abusive, and it'll end up that way.
Yeah. It all depends on like the customer, like who's asking for what, to me. Like, but if for me personally, I just like a nice clean, like no paint, just raw machine. But I am into like, really nice paint jobs, whether it's like, torching the finish, distressing the finish, or just a nice fade, maybe some sparkly stuff, maybe some textured stuff. All depends, depends on the mood.
Depends on the theme of the machine too, what you're going for. I know
Yeah.
with myself, like there's specific things I build for, or specific finishes I use for a specific look. And I've been experimenting with a lot of different things. And I've realized that just because I like something doesn't mean that somebody else will enjoy it. Like I build these machines, I think for myself, that are fantastic, and it'll fly. Someone will buy it right away. And those are machines that generally sit in my drawer for a year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the more I like it, generally the least the public likes it less if I like it more.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it in a different way, because I'm interested in some little piece of the aesthetic, whereas the public is really focused on a bigger picture. Whereas once you do it enough, you start hyper focusing on smaller parts of it.
Yeah. It's really weird how that's such a contrast to like, it's like, like the chef like works all day creating and, cooking delicious food and then goes home and eats a TV dinner.
Sometimes
whatever.
you need that.
Whatever food, whatever. Like, so I kind of look at it that way. They should pull up Gabe, can you pull up Kevin's Instagram at all? It's what is it? Kevin Riley Tattoos.
Yeah.
So you can see some of his newer stuff.
I will admit the website is functional, but very out of date. I think that maybe 2015, 2016 was the end of me really posting on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. Like
Hey,
I have
still keep it.
I have to do like every single thing. Everything has to be totally done in order for me to like update my website. It's horrible.
I don't even have one.
Like,
It's too much work. Instagram's so easy compared.
until they take it away from you.
And
Oh yeah,
then-
I mean,
you're
I
right.
would love to have my website easily updated, but that website is a HTML website that I built myself, and it requires too much effort, but it still stays there. It's I am not going to abandon the website, but I will update it when I have been forced to.
So I got a question for you. Those coils there, are they clear coated?
They just have clear tape on them.
Just clear tape. Okay.
Yeah, my preference lately has just been clear tape over top of laser printouts. If I'm doing something that has an image on it,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I got into the washers, so like I felt bad putting shrink wrap over top of the washers.
Yeah. I see a lot of guys are getting into the big heavy washers. What are your thoughts on that as far as like limiting wire too? You just compensate.
I mean, it depends on the build. There are certain coil sizes that I wouldn't use thick washers on, but I mean, you can always do something to work around it. I haven't really had a noticeable opinion on thick washers to thin washers. I have been amazed at how little power modern coil core materials run on. So,
Right.
Yeah.
20 years ago, I was pleased if a machine ran at 7 volts, and now it's not unusual for machines to run at 5 or something because the coil cores are just so much, the material's better now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 4 to 5 typically.
Yeah.
4 to 5 and a pretty good range.
I guess I'm doing something wrong. I
Well-
tune on 6.6 and run mine around 7.1 for my shaders.
I mean,
Yeah,
it all
but
depends on
they run.
everybody's individual geometry, but
Yeah.
I feel like the current coil core material, the magnetic iron that I can get is it's just 1.5 volts or 2 volts less than it would have been on like an annealed steel core.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of it depends on like for me anyway, like, I think it's what Tony was kind of trying to touch on is like how much wire are you putting on that core too. I've always felt like, more wire equals more volts, less wire equals less volts, but there has to be a balance. You can't just put like, one layer of wire, you know what I mean? So it just depends on what.
I've just had too
It also
much
depends
trouble with
coil
heat.
core thickness too, I think.
Yeah.
If you're using 5/16 or if you're using 3/8 cores, that makes a difference.
Are
Not
you
to get-
you're making your own cores, Greg? So are you using anything in particular that's fancy, or are you making them out of 1018 steel or something?
That's proprietary information.
That's where I'm
I
at
mean,
too. It's for
I'm not
Pat.
asking for the numbers. I'm just saying, are you making them out of regular stuff, or are you using smarts in sourcing the material?
Smarts, yeah.
I've been using. I was following Tony's lead from many years ago. I used 12L14.
Huh.
I've never had any problems with it. It cuts like butter, machines like butter, and I like it a lot. 1 second, man. Yeah, like never had any issues with it at all. It's to me like it just seems like, you know, like in my mind it's like a more wire or less wire thing. You know, the more wire you put on a core, the more volts it's going to take to turn it over. And the less wire you put on a core, it's less volts, you know. But there is like a, you know, like you have to find like a really good, you know, balance between, you know, an 8 and like a 5, you know, like there's other things like, you know, Tony was saying, like you have to compensate for, and there's little tricks you can pull off and stuff. But I've experimented with different wire thicknesses. You know, I've used, I mean, typically I think the average, if you ask the average tattoo machine guy, you know, what type of wire they're running and, you know, what gauge of wire they're running, most would say like 24 AWG. I've experimented with what was it? It's going backwards. So 22, 20, 18. I made coil cores with 18 and they just like burn your hand off. So I was like, oh, okay, well, can't do that, you know? So like, I think like being able to, you know, go out in my workshop and just like make some coil cores, and take the time to experiment is like pretty crucial and stuff. As opposed to like, you know, I don't know, like, you know, they don't cost me too much to make, you know, so I can make a ton of them and that's that. But I like them. I mean, I mean, you can face them so easily. They face like brass, you know.
Yeah.
It's like you can drill right through them like super easy. You can do the same with 1018, but I also feel like it's much easier to get like a dead soft hit with 12L14. You know, like to, you know, marry the coil core with the A bar.
You making your A bar with the 12L too?
Unfortunately, like I would have to machine it out of round stock because I've never seen 12L14 flat stock. But I know that's a factor, but like I get away with it. Like all good. You know, I used 1018 for my A bar.
I played with 1010 also, 12L, Swiss iron, and Neil 1018. Yeah, and it all comes back to like for my formula at least, that's what works best for me with the cast frames, the annealed cast ductile.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's I could tell different responses. Like when I build the Rogers machines, I got some cores off of Rieger like 15 years ago. They were just 1018 annealed. So I just throw those on and they seem to work well with that. But they respond differently on the iron. It's odd. It's like I can hear it. I don't know what it is. I can feel it. I can hear it. So for me, that formula works well for what I do.
Yeah.
There's definitely material like differences in carbon content and Rockwell hardness in certain materials that I don't enjoy the mixtures. So
I think
it's just a matter of
the magnetic steel, or is it magnetic iron? What is it? The stuff that Kevin was talking about?
Oh, magnetic iron.
Yeah. I mean, if I get my hands on, you know, 3/8 round, you know, but I'm not sure that it's easy to source.
Yeah, it's not easy to source. You know, I've been buying the pre-made ones. And so, you know, when Austin or Aaron buys a quantity that's large enough, they can buy it easily, but you can't just buy a couple of rods of it. and
Yeah, you can't.
it's prohibited. Well, it's prohibitively difficult because they want you to buy a lot.
Yeah. And there's
Yeah.
no like supply company that's going to supply tons of it or something to the public.
I did find a company, but it's hard to find the right sizes. The scientific grade, it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's either way too big or way too small.
And the stuff that I've sourced was millimeter, and I wasn't smart on my conversions. I should have did my math before I ordered. I got excited. I'm like, I'm just going to order some.
Yeah.
And I did some simple math, and here it was like pencil thickness.
Yeah, yeah.
I still have it. I should try and wind some minis with it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those really old machines had the 1/4-inch core. So give it a whirl.
Yeah, I think these are smaller than I don't know. If they're, I have to look. They're actually in the other room. I'll have to go run and see. I'd like to do that. Yeah. But Jerry told me years ago, keep an eye out for old is it Model A or Model T batteries, because they used a Swiss iron inside of it. And he said a lot of the old timers would gut them out. I never could find one. The only thing I could find was a coil pack or whatnot. And I tore that thing open and there was nothing in it.
Yeah.
And an old guy told me once that you go to the cemetery and you steal the little fencing around the grave because you can find 1800s iron round bar there.
Wow.
I don't know about all that, but all right.
It's haunted too.
Don't do that, but
Dude, I have an old iron fence. I should cut some pieces off and send it to you guys. Like, you could feel it. Like I know with certain materials, and I have an apprentice now, and actually, it's a good example. Mike McCollum came down, and he knows I like to build like weird wrench machines. So he found a bag of wrenches at a flea market. He brought them down, and we were sitting there, and you could feel it. Like if you grind your fingernail across this steel and this iron, you can feel the hardness right off the bat. Like as far as like composition, I'm not sure what it is. Like some of them are hardened, case hardened steel, but some are just, man, they feel like lead based.
my buddy Jason Kodran from Iron Flag Tattoo up in Tom's River. Shout out to Jason. He's a cool dude. He acquired, I don't know if Ernie gave him a bunch of they used to like cast coil cores. And
I have some of them.
Okay. But he's got a ton of them, and he was asking me how to like if I could machine them. Like, I'm just a tattoo machine builder. I'm not like an expert machinist, but he was supposed to send me some. He never did. I just wanted to but they're like kind of U-shaped. They're not.
Yeah, they're not round. They're like D-shaped. They have a flat on the one side and then a round on the other. And I did machine a couple of them. Ernie sent some to me, and I had to put them in the forge all and get a round on one end, and then I could flip it around and use the center in order to turn them round. But it didn't make any good difference. I didn't feel like the cores were good. Like, I think in the end they were never heat treated, so they probably could have been better if I machined a bunch of them and then took them and got them heat treated correctly. But I don't know. I feel like iron, it matters how they're treated.
Yeah, the annealing process, definitely. Yeah, and I've noticed different. I worked with 2 different annealers up here in Pittsburgh, and you could tell difference between their companies, the cool down times and the levels they drop. Yeah, and I guess it depends on how much magnesium's in your cast too, because there's different levels and different castings. So I definitely agree with that.
But I have a couple of them. If you want to give it a try, Greg, I'll send you some.
I
mean, they're
turn them into A-bars, since they have a D side, a flat side, and then just meld it off.
I mean, you could could surely machine them into that shape too. I mean, Ernie didn't seem at all impressed with them. He didn't, he sent me a photo of the original casting plates for those, Waters V frames that Ernie and Paul were doing. And he sent me a photo of the casting plate. And I just noticed that there was, 3 or 4 weird rods on the side. And I asked him if they were coil cores. And he said, yeah, we tried it. But he wasn't like, yeah, he didn't give it a resounding, oh yeah, you're going to love them. He was like,
yeah, we tried it.
Yeah, he said they tried it and they were a pain in the ass to machine, and they at least weren't good enough to make up for the fact that they were a pain in the ass to machine. But
yeah, here you go.
There was always a question when I first started that it was weights and measures and materials. Like the frame has to match the cores, which has to match the A bars, and the cores have to match the weight of the A bar.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really believe in all that too much. I think it's overthinking it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like
A to B.
I think even like I don't know if you've ever noticed, but like a bulldog runs way faster than like anything else. And like just because there's not much frame there. So in my mind, there's like, if you think of like the frame, like think of the frame as like a resistor or resistance. If there's not much frame there, then the cycle will go faster. If there's like a beefier frame, then the cycle will go slower, because of like the time it takes for the electricity to run through the frame. So, and where the hell was I going with that? What the hell were we just talking about? I just lost myself. And we lost Kevin. Where did he go?
I just remembered I'm actually in my workshop. So,
yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, wow. There it is.
Yeah, no, I don't think I want to mess with that.
It's cool though.
Nope.
I wonder if you could just like, if you could
definitely needs treatment.
Like, if you could do it like as an investment cast instead of sand casting, like, so you won't have that round, like that flat edge.
Yeah, I'm sure you could.
But like, would it be worth it? I mean, especially if you think about like how hard it is to source, this type of iron. If there's a way to make it, then it would,
well, it's not hard for me to source right now. I just go onto Austin's website and I put it in, and they show up in the mail. It's the easiest sourcing ever.
Like for me to make them myself.
For you, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, like, I don't know how you wipe your ass. I wipe my ass with my right hand. But as far as like how you wipe your ass, you got to figure it out for yourself.
I do it one coil core at a time. I graduated from Tootsie Rolls.
I mean, unless that guy, unless I can hit that dude up and like he can break me off some, that'd be cool. But just some raw material.
I have tears in my eyes from that. That's great.
I'm sure that a fine guy like yourself could find a couple of feet of that. Cast iron to try. I know I have a little bit of it here, raw, that Jason Stewart gave to me.
Oh, really?
I made
teasing you now, Greg. He's teasing you.
Because he had gotten it, and he probably got it. I don't know who he got it from, but he had given me, enough to make 2 sets, and I made 1 set, and just to try and see if it was comparable, if there was anything about the way they were machining it that made it seem different. But
do you think is it really soft or really hard to machine, or? No,
it's easy to machine. It's like it's like most iron. It's like powdery, and it's easy to machine. So.
And what's the material thickness? Like, it's
3/8. I know, most of those guys, they just offer solid 3/8, or they offer 3/8 head 5/16 T-tops.
Yeah,
They're just able to find that one size. And then all the armature bars are made from the same round too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But it's funny. It's like, I don't like the iron armature bars. People rave about them and they buy them, but I don't like them. I think they don't weigh enough.
Okay.
I find the difference in weight to be frustrating. I don't like them at all in shaders because I don't think they're heavy enough. And I think it's a two-part problem. The fact that the actual iron weighs less, but then also they're machined from rounds, so they have less material because they don't have the corners. So
right.
I think I find a discrepancy in the weight in both ways.
There it is. Right there, like that statement, that is how I know you're one of us. Like, that's how I know you're fucking crazy. Because like only somebody like us, like, but I got it. Like, that made my whole fucking day just hearing that. That makes me fucking smile. I love that.
Huh?
Go on. That was awesome. Like that little tweak, like you're like tweaking out the littlest bit. You're like no one's thinking about that shit, dude.
My statement to you, Greg, would be, you haven't realized he's one of us by looking at where he's sitting.
No. I'm just saying. Everybody else knows now.
You think
like,
on a mental scale, yeah.
Yeah, like yeah. We're all like, oh my god, dude, we're fucking crazy.
I mean, I think I'm less inclined to the science end of things. My personal thought process is much more of like what I would call like a farm mechanic or something like that. I'm not really a person that's super interested in the like science. I'm just like interested in observation. So like,
yeah,
I don't really know much about like the hardness of the materials or the specific types of materials or even the cycles of the coils and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff is things I'd like to know more about, but most of my understanding of tattoo machines is just from trying to just watch them work and just get feedback from it. The science of it, I think, is sometimes a rabbit hole that
graduated from MIT. Like, we're all just tattooers. Like, it's the same way with like learning how to tattoo. You learn by observing. You don't really understand why or what's going on. You just do something and it works. I feel like the same way.
I have a fun proposal. Next month, we're having Aaron Williams from Tatcom on. And I had the privilege of speaking with him for about an hour and a half about scientific, technical aspects of tattoo machines, motors, rotaries, coils, and function. And wow, like you want to talk about opposite spectrum. Like, okay, if you're talking about farm machinery, or being like comparing yourself to like farm mechanic, learning on the fly, this guy like is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. It's wild how much information he has, like in a technical aspect. I couldn't even wrap my head around half of it. It was crazy.
I mean, I guess all of that information is good as long as it's helpful. But a lot of times people fall down the rabbit hole of thinking that they're going to like logic their way out of a situation, and in reality it's often some super dumb simple thing that's the problem with the whole thing. I mean, we all build tattoo machines, and how many fucking times does somebody send you an email or tell you, oh, I think the capacitor blew? That's like, the customer wants there to be like a physical bad part. They don't want it to be that there's just like a little bit of residue on the top of the coil core. Like the simplest thing is often the actual issue, not some bigger part of it. But
Yeah,
I
used to
do
have to
wish.
think-
clean the leads on your clip cord. You can
Oh, the
could
clip-
clean up the ground, and you can clean up the binding post.
I mean,
You know, the front binding post. Like, there's so many
if
things.
people
You know,
if
it's
people still use foot switches, you know, like anybody who uses an older style power supply and still uses a foot switch, they're using the same foot switch with the same wire that they've rolled the chair over for 40 years. And
Yeah.
and meanwhile, they're trying to figure out what the problem is, whereas all their electricity is running through that foot switch too. You know, like, but you know, I mean, I just I love the science of stuff, and I would love to have a conversation with that person about how some of those things work. But I do fear that people want there to be like a math solving for the issue, whereas I think an observation and just a paying attention is going to solve the issue first.
situational awareness.
Yeah.
Your old ass foot switch sucks. Replace the wire with speaker wire. You know, like, learn how to solder. Like, you know, like, I get all that stuff. I think, like, you know, if anything needs to be taught to any new or old, you know, tattooer, it's how to maintain daily just little things, like, you know, take some alcohol to your clip cord, like, you know, like, make sure the leads are nice and bright, you know, just little stuff, you know, before you call me and say
that shit.
it's running all, you know. Wait, say that again.
I don't do any of it. I don't do any of that shit.
It's all the magic, dude. Bullshit. But if you did, I mean, shit,
It worked.
who knows?
No,
what
I've
would happen.
noticed. I'll tell you, I was using shitty Chinese clip cords for decades, and then it, you know, the 900th one broke, and I'm like, fuck, I'm out of clip cords. I don't feel like soldering this piece of shit back together. My buddy Dan's like, here, uses Al Brody or Brody A, or however you say his name.
Al
I
Bro.
fuck everybody's name up, but Al Bro, that works, and it was fantastic. It was like the difference in voltage and current and flow. It made the machine run incredibly different.
Yeah.
In parallel to that, and power unit, the same thing, Kev. I agree. And the foot switch, like anything can flaw the way the machine runs. I think part of the problem, one of my problems as a builder and as a machine tuner, was when I first started, when Critical first came out, I think it was a CX2, and I was able to get all the readings and everything set to like 6.6 in my cycle rates, and 47 from my shaders and 51 from my line, and like that kind of stuff. And I had that set on that unit, and I tuned everything on that unit for about 6 years. And then that unit just shit the bed. So
Yeah.
I called up Critical, and I'm like, hey, I love this unit. This is what I use to tune. Send me an identical one. And I get it, and it's fucking nothing like it.
Oh,
Like,
well, it sucks.
it sucked. Like, and ever since that, I kind of like, I had to redevelop how I tuned my machines. You know, it sucks that I had to rely on a unit to help me get to where I needed to go, but it helped, right? And that was a tool in my arsenal that I used to have consistency until it failed. So there's always, my point, I guess, is, yeah, I agree with you, Kev. There's always something in the chain of mechanical line, of the mechanical line, that can throw the system off, even though it's such a simple system and it's a dumb system. But any movement or alteration can fucking,
It's so
throw
dumb.
you, the way you tattoo can throw you to the point of like madness and frustration. Like,
Oh my
everything
God.
was going great, my clip cord shit, and now I suck at tattooing again for 5 more years until I can refine my system.
One
I
of
still
my
like-
favorite things to do is to have other tattooers set up their machines and let me look at them. And the
Yeah.
differences in just the placement of the needle in the tube and how
Yeah.
people bend things, how the angles in which people put their rubber bands on things, whether the needle's slightly inside the tube, slightly outside of the tube, flush with the tip of the tube. Like all of those things are like these variables that the owner of the machine are doing that you have no control over. You can't anticipate all of the things that the person who receives the machine is going to do. Some of them make a lot of sense. Some of them make very little sense.
Yeah, it's amazing. I used to send out like a little
So how many machines?
paper with like what to do, like how to, like, oh, these are suggestions, use these types of, number 14 rubber bands and paper towel grommets, whatever, and then I was just like, dude, it's just like people are just going to do whatever they want anyway, which is cool. So I think like, it's like you get a machine order and it's like a source of joy and a source of constant anxiety all at once. You're making something, but you don't really know like that. You don't know the person well enough, or like they're not sitting next to you, so you can be like, oh, just do this. This little tweak will make it this much better. It's not like a one size fits all situation. I mean, like machines in itself, like you can make one machine to the next one, and there's just like little subtle differences. I mean, you can make the same comparison one tattooer to the next one, but the differences aren't so subtle, differences are vast, so it's clearly making me insane. It's clearly making all of us insane. It's
I mean,
I've said this before on this show. I think this
In
is
our
more of a
clients.
I think it's more of a support group than it is a podcast. If anything, like we're all going crazy. This is how it is.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
That's probably the best thing you've ever said.
What? It's a support group. We should just rename it
and I'm a machine addict.
We should name it the Machine Builders Support Group. That's what we should rename the shit.
Anonymous.
Crazy.
Machine Builders
I mean,
Anonymous.
I don't know. I feel bad speaking for you, but I know that I'm fucking nuts, dude. But,
I mean, you're
shit,
making
my
your
whole
own
mood
black
depends
ink.
on- my whole mood depends on how I'm from right now. Like, like shaders are one. Shaders are so particular. They have so many things that could like throw off the tiny little thing. If there's like a little flutter, or if I detect any kind of weird intonation and sounds, it makes me insane. Oh well,
I've
I know
always
I'm in
been good at
company, though.
shaders. I can't make liners.
You can make liners. I mean, come on, but I feel your pain. I know shaders are
Yeah,
always
shaders-
easier.
shaders.
Liners are a pain in the, I'm like, oh, this motherfucker wants a liner. You try to put your
I'm
best foot
better.
forward.
I'm
but,
better
like,
at it than ever before. But I have
oh yeah,
shaders have always come easy to me.
yeah. And the other thing too is like people. I feel like if you make a shader, I feel like a higher percentage of people are going to be able to work with it. But if I make a liner how I run a liner. And like, I mean, I'm a street shop guy and I take walk-ins on it hard and fast. Like I want it to hit the skin and lay a fucking rope of black, but like not everybody works that way. So you got to make them so they can hit hard and fast. And then you can tune them, you turn them down and there's still no fluctuation. There's no flutter. And somebody can still like slow it down and make lines. And it's like a very, very small window that to get into. It's like a little teeny little thing that you got to really kind of stick to and try your hardest to get to. But it's like, you say to somebody like, oh, how do you want your liner? Oh, I want it hard and fast. But like my hard and fast is different from someone else's, So I think that's like the way people, do or make lines varies, but the way that like shading kind of happens, I feel like is like, it's almost like, everybody has like a similar technique. You know, lining is just different.
When I get machines from other
That's
people,
the tough-
I'm way more particular about shaders though. Like if I do a trade with somebody, it's unlikely that I will like the shader because I'm
Really?
like way more
See, I'm the
particular
opposite,
about
yeah.
shaders. I can outline with anything. I'll outline with the shader they sent me, no problem.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I'm way more particular about a shader.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
I shade with a liner and line with a shader. Figure that one out.
Yeah, that's
My daily liner is
I heard the same thing about Tim
the big J frame shader.
Tim Hendricks told me the same thing. He lines with a shader, shades with a liner.
And ultimately, you're just moving your hand at the appropriate speed for the machine. So,
Yeah.
I mean, all of these terms we just made up, like the idea that that's a shader and that's a liner, which
Right,
somebody fucking completely made it up. So there's like,
Yeah.
there's no rule to any of it except for that's what's working for me. We've decided that there's an aesthetic. We've decided that faster generally means liner, but
Right.
we made it
Got-
up. We made everything up.
You know, you got a nickel gap, you got a dime gap. That's how it all started.
Yep.
That's how I think it started anyway. I mean, I wasn't around when that started, but
Ever lined with a Mad
you know,
B back in the day, Greg?
oh,
Remember
fucking saw
the
someone's
Mad
arm
B
off.
liners? With 30,
Yeah.
33 hertz caps with
Yeah.
scalloped A bars cut back.
Wow.
Woo.
Yeah, the dude that taught me how
With
to
a
tattoo
single.
one of those.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah. Make a
I used to
fucking
tear the
record
hell out of
burns, dude.
people with that thing, man.
Yeah.
Its skin would raise up that
You do a
much.
tattoo, you put it on the record. Yeah. Crazy. Let's make one. Let's make a Mad B.
No.
Sure.
I've seen it had double 33 hertz caps on them. Like, why?
Oh, that'll slow it down though.
What are you
Too much.
doing? Why?
What do they think? Like they put double on there, like it was going to go faster or something?
Yeah. Just take it off.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. I always wondered like what would happen if like, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've never done the experiment, but I would like to. Like if you had like a capacitor that could sit in line on your clip cord or something like that. Like, you know, like how would it affect like every tattoo machine that you put on that clip cord? Or would it affect it at all, you know?
You
I
get
mean, it
more
makes sense that, like
plays.
if you put it in line, you know, if you put a capacitor on the coils, you know, if like you put one, if you just put one at like the base of your clip cord, like would it make a difference? You know, or like maybe make something where you can like interchange different capacitors to your clip cord. I mean, it's something to think about anyway. If not, you know, if anybody gets time to do it, it'd be cool to do it. But just to see,
I mean, a couple
like,
of different
what it
people have done
would do.
exchangeable capacitor setups.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, on your machine though.
Yeah.
Somebody used to sell those back
Yeah,
in the day. They were just
sure.
individual caps with lugs on them. You'd swap them in and out.
Yeah, they just had solder lugs on them. But I wonder if you could do the same thing. I wonder if you could do it on like, you know, on a clip cord or something like that. Like maybe I don't know what the purpose of doing it would be, only to like see if it did anything. You know, it might make machines run smoother. Like, you know, I you know, I don't know. Maybe I'll try it and see, then report back, see what happened. You know, like who the hell knows what'll happen
Yeah,
though.
I mean, putting the capacitor at that place would be a different place in the chain
Yeah.
than
Yeah,
the
that's
other
what-
one. So I have no
Make a
idea what the
switch
result would
box.
be.
Yeah, I don't know that like it would do anything. You know, it might not do anything. Who knows? Might do something.
Make a
But
switch
something to think
box, Greg. Just
mean-
like
What's that?
make a switch box with like selectors, and you could have a bunch of different caps that you could just flick the switch and put it in line before the machine.
Yeah, that's
Right
I mean
before
that's
the
a great idea
machine.
too.
Take take the cap out of the circuit. I vaguely remember someone doing that like back in the 90s. Like just there was a lot of experimental stuff back then.
I wonder if it would take away any kind of chatter or like kind of smooth out the power or something. Who knows? You know, I mean, like like you could get your buddy on here that's like that has all the scientific answers apparently, and then like you could report back to us like
if he was
like,
listening, he'd probably be chomping at the bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like get him on there, and then like, maybe that's a good question we can pose to him as to like
the conversation starter for him.
Yes, exactly.
Well, you'll be able to next month, buddy.
Yeah. No, I think it's like an easy thing to try. Like it can't be too hard to put that together, something like that. Anyway. You there, Tone?
Internet is so bad right now. Yeah, my internet's really bad. It keeps saying it's unstable.
Yeah, just like us.
Makes sense. I don't know what's happening with it.
It's good. You look like you're all good now.
I'm always all good, baby.
Anyway.
I'm old. I gotta do it slow or I'll break something.
Yeah. Tell me about it. So moving on from capacitor. Let's see. We covered capacitors. We covered all the good shit. Like this isn't the normal like get to know you stuff. This is like all the good shit.
It's the wine and dine part.
What's that?
It's the wine and dine part.
Yeah. The one thing that I thought was like really well, I mean, obviously, because I freaked out when Kevin said it, was like how making a A-bar out of round stock, it doesn't have the edges, so it might weigh less than like if it was square. Like it's not something I've ever thought about. I mean, if anything, I would think about like, contact surface and how there might be less contact surface if it's like meeting up with a 3/8 core, but I like never really thought about that before, as far as like
what you just said is true and does suck when you have to retune the machine a couple of years down the line. That slightly thinner A-bar surface has created a step on the top of your coil core. You have some little hair on the edge that is it's tall now, and so you have to deal with the fact that you now have a low spot in the middle of the core instead of the core getting beaten ever more flat.
Oh wow. So like the little edges on the side of the core would like it's like a relief or something. Like it makes such an impression in the coil core that it just like beats. I could see how that. What do you do in that situation? Do you just I've
had to knock those edges off in order to replace the armature bar, or normally that's not an issue, but that's one of the problems with the armature bar that's slightly thinner at the contact area than the coil core. I don't know if I've ever used them. Maybe if I've gotten a machine from someone, but I can't recall in any of the history of me making tattoo machines that I've ever used a round A-bar. I've certainly like gotten machines, from like I've bought machines that had them on there, but I've never used them and never really thought about like where they came from early on, although like, they have to be, I don't think it's like the easiest process in the world to machine something like that. But especially if you're doing it manually. But I know putting on a lathe would be easy because 3-jaw chuck, it's round. You could make a nipple or make a hole and then put a roll pin in it. I always thought about doing it, but now I think you kind of talked me out of it. Like I mean,
but,
it depends on if that weight is beneficial or not.
Try to do it though,
I don't mind them on liners. I use some of the long nipple iron made from round stock ones on liners, but
Okay.
you know, I'm not a real big fan of the super long nipple ones anymore because the nipples break off. It's like, you know, it's not a thing that happens to every single one, but you know,
Right.
if you make 100 machines with them on, you're going to have two people year later be like, oh, can I send it back? The whole end of it broke off,
Oh, wow.
which I think is part the fact that iron is, you know, doesn't have as much flex to it, so it's more likely to crack.
It's
But,
a lot more brittle.
Yeah, it's
You
not
know.
malleable.
I would say, you know, if I mean, an easy fix to that is like when they're getting machined, just use a dowel pin or a roll pin and just make a hole. And you can make from there you can make the nipple any size you want.
Yeah.
You know, as long as like you use the right size or the right length of dowel pin. I've always used dowel pins,
Yeah.
and I've always used them because Tony always used them, and Kevin Corder, you know, he was like, "Hey man, you just use dowel pins." I'm like, "Oh, okay," you know, like, you know, like I've tried to like make nipples, but they never really turned out too well, you know. So you know, you just work, you know, you work with what works, and that's what I do. So, but
Yeah, I agree with
now,
that.
now I kind of want to make an A-bar like that. Like I want to try to at least make one just to see what happens. But you know, I don't know, maybe.
So I have a question for both of you guys. I've restored a couple Aaron Kane machines that I bought off of people who come in the shop, and they're just butchered in pieces and missing parts.
Jeez.
Yeah, double spirals, by the way. And
Wow.
I actually need a liner A-bar that's rounded because Aaron doesn't make them anymore, and Lucky's doesn't sell them anymore. So, if you
Interesting.
guys have anything laying around, let me
Oh.
know. Or
I
if
mean,
you
Austin's selling them right now.
Who is?
Austin sells them right now. I mean, he's making all of his A-bars from round iron stock.
Okay.
I have one on a grime big G shader out from like 2001, 2002, something like that. But I ain't getting that up.
That's about the era. Yeah.
You know what about those double spiral? The double spiral, I've never seen one in person. And then this local tattoo for South Jersey, this guy Eric Hooven, he came by with a case full of machines, and they were beautiful. And I never really realized, because those things look like super bulky, but I never realized like how like the backside of it is like all cut out and hollowed. And it was actually light.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, man, this is like, you know, that machine looks like it weighs 8 pounds.
Yeah.
But you know, with I guess like he was smart enough when they did all the casting, you know, the wax casts were hollowed out a little bit, or like, you know, like dug out, like,
yeah,
you know, really crazy. Like it's crazy too to think about like how far that guy took it that long ago, you know. And not like, you know, not for nothing. It's just like, you know, that dude made amazing shit, and like, you know, he's one of the big inspirations to get into building, because he was making such fucking cool shit. He was making shit that like nobody was making ever. And I think that was like a really, really cool thing. The whole hollowed out frame and stuff, you know, it was like a lot of forethought into that move, you know.
Yeah, I got tattooed by him when he worked with Little Vinny down in Maryland. And he had this gun case of machines sitting on his desk, and it was the first Cesta Ferry like Walker style frames, but they were gray iron cast, so they were very brittle. And he had carved the shit out of them. This is the first 12 machines he ever did. I ended up buying number 12 off of him when I was down there, and that thing broke like in 3 places. I still have it. It's broken. Like the whole vise is broken off. He won't repair it. He told me to send it to Seth. I'm like, what? Like, no, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna do
right.
it. You know, I'll just fix it then, you know, myself. Why would I send it out? But
Yeah,
I thought I'd rather have him. I'm a purist in that fashion. I'd rather have
Yeah,
him do it. But yeah, it was cool to see then. That was like 2000, or the fuck was it? It was like 98, maybe. I got tattooed by him. I can't even remember, dude. It's been so long ago. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 98. But from that time on, dude, that dude's just exploded.
He sold a lot of
Unbelievable.
Dremels in '98.
yeah.
A lot
Yeah,
of
he did.
tattooers were like, I'm gonna go out and get me one of them.
Oh my God.
People still hurting his moves,
Dude,
man.
one of these days I'm
That's
gonna
for
like
sure.
I'm gonna bring like maybe 5 to 7 really shittily carved frames for everyone to see. And I was just like, man, some of them are cool. Some of them are cool. I sold some of them. But a lot of them are just like really fucking weird, man. Like, you know, like if you really don't come from that world, if you're not tattooing and drawing biomech stuff, like you can tell when somebody tries to carve up a frame. You know, recently I saw that he was doing some Jonesies, and they look like old National Jonesies or something, and they're magnificent. Like it's like he's like you know, I feel like it's like I see that it's like slipping into a warm bath for him. Like, you know, that's like I know that's like the frame that started it all with that dude, and like they're like so fucking cool, man. It's like so cool to see that. Like he's just going back to like what do you read, like Handmade or Handmade 2 or something like that, and like see all the old Jonesies and stuff he was making and then carving up.
Yeah,
It was truly a thing that like not you know people mimicked it, copied it because it was so fucking cool. Like, you know, it was like such a fucking awesome, you know, cool thing, because like up until then, like it was just like, you know, like you had Spalding and Rogers National, you know, whatever technical tattoo supply was, you know, like to me, like it was like cheap tattoo machines that look like tattoo machines, but these were actual works of art, which was amazing to me. Like it really opened my eyes up to, you know, how things could be done, you know.
And it was hard to find out about all of the cool stuff. You know, before the internet, you really were just stuck with those couple of catalogs that were floating around the shop.
Yeah. When I first started, well, shortly after I first started, like Tattoo Artist Magazine, you know, you see that ad and you're like, what the fuck are these? Like, those are fucking crazy, you know, like how much are these? $350, Jesus Christ. Like, but you know, you gotta save your money and like, you know, buy one of these machines, you know, if you could get one, if he would sell you one. You know, I had a girlfriend back then that like for my birthday, she contacted Aaron and got a machine for me. And that was probably the best thing that came out of that relationship. So I was fortunate enough to that, like she knew enough to like, you know, grab a machine from him. And it's like, you know, I haven't used it in years, and I think I resprung it once, but I guarantee you, if that thing lights up, it's still amazing. You know, like, you know, kind of
I never had one until this year.
right.
Really?
I bought an Aaron Kane machine this year from a local guy who had one for sale.
Yeah, they're
yeah.
awesome. I've had a lot of people offer, you know, but like it's just something I'll never get rid of. Like it's such a cool machine. Plus it's like it's tied to grime, you know, like it's such a fucking cool thing. Like I guess he was doing like pro model tattoo machines. Like he had one for Timothy Hoyer and grime. I don't know who else though. I don't think Marcus Pacheco had one.
There were 2 Grimes, the Hoyer one.
I feel like there was another grime machine though. Wasn't there 3 grime machines? Big G. There was like the graffiti G, the little G. I feel like there was something else too. And but I don't remember. It's been a minute. I'll have to look through the old magazines to see if there's like any ads or something. And all that good shit. What did Tony hop off? Where'd he go?
I don't know.
Just couldn't handle
I've
it.
gotten to rebuild a lot of those weirder older frames. Like, a lot of them have been chopped up so much that, a lot of the original builders wouldn't work on them anymore. And
Yeah.
once the whole tube vise is gone, and I got to rebuild a Hoyer one, and I've done a couple of the Grime ones.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, the Timothy Hoyer lady, it was like a lady head or something like that. I can imagine, like, working with that type of material, like it's, when I know that was like, it was investment cast. And, you have to have, I think I read, I'm not sure what interview it is. I don't know if it's underway is the only way, or if it was, it might've been handmade too. Where he said that, you have to make waxes, you have to use this mold, you make a bunch of waxes, and he personally had to deliver them to the foundry in like, in a cooler to keep them cold, because the wax would, warp or not warp, but like it slowly bends in or something. And, they have to make a tree from that. So, I guess he didn't trust, the foundry enough to make the waxes themselves and make sure that there was like all this special care and stuff in making sure when they got to the tree, got to the sprue, eventually got coated and eventually got poured, that like they would be like the absolute firmest and best. So he would like drive them to the foundry and stuff like that. And he said, or I'm paraphrasing, but like when he was done, he still had to kind of like knock them into place to get them machined and stuff. Like they might have been a little out of whack.
Yeah, I could imagine that those were a real difficult process to both mold, to carve, and then the machining on them is a nightmare. I've machined a couple of I did machine one of those little G or no, the big G one. I machined one of those from Raw, where a friend of mine who worked at the Little Vinny's had gotten a Raw one from Aaron way back, and I machined one of them from Raw, and it was, it's very, very difficult to figure out how you hold cast that's that shape where the side is not flat in any way.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like if you have to start out with at least one flat side to do something. Like, how would it all come together?
So
Did it
I'm sure that the machinist fucking hated them when they showed up with those and said, "Can you mill these?"
Yeah,
the guy was like, "You fuckers!" Like,
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I mean, it's probably difficult enough with like like when Tony does sand casting, and that's just like a real, like it's a basically flat surface. There's nothing like biomech carved or anything. I can imagine just that, like trying to like figure out how to clamp that down and get a flat surface or a flat edge on it, let alone like an Aaron Kane machine. Probably very difficult. Did you end up like replacing the vise, or did you use the same vise and like make holes in it and stuff? And
that one, I machined the whole machine all the way through. But some other ones I've just put a new base on, or I've done, I don't really like doing bolt-on bases, so I'd prefer to cut the whole base off and braze a new base in if I can. But that particular one, I machined it all the way through and drilled all the holes. So.
I think that would probably be the easiest to do, is to like just cut the side off and just braze it to another base and another coil deck or something.
The way that I do my brazing, a lot of times I can save the original shelf, but then put that on my fixture and alter the angle of the original shelf.
Right. Yeah.
So,
It's they were amazing. The dude's still making amazing shit.
I mean,
incredible shit.
the the most amazing little pieces of art that are functional that anybody could even imagine. And I don't think that anybody is really can wrap their head around how difficult and how much expertise he has in that art style that he created. Like, people don't give, people really overlook just how fucking amazing that shit is.
Oh, I know. It's fucking crazy. Hey, Tony, you're back.
Yes,
What
yes,
happened?
I am. My internet's it shut down and then it just rebooted.
Yo, remember one time the guy was in the back of the shop and he fucking cut my internet off?
No.
Like,
Oh yeah.
like during a podcast. I forgot who it was. Who it was with. It might have been with Schweiger.
Schweiger.
And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
And you had to call me, and you're calling me, and I'm on the phone.
Yeah.
On the podcast. It's like,
I forgot about that. I was building that Rogers machine over COVID, and it was in the middle of an ice storm, and I was in the basement of the shop, like hacksawing a base plate, and it just was like, that was it. It was just ended. Something happened with the storm. I always have bad luck with this shit, dude. I have the worst.
It's cool to do it live and see everybody, but like, the Zoom meeting thing, it like definitely like puts a little can sometimes throw a little monkey wrench in the plan,
Yeah.
But we're all here again, so that's cool.
Yeah, we get it done, man.
Technology is a rascal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, say it again? No, there's a lag.
No, he's got a lag.
Say it again? You said
technology.
Oh, I said technology is a rascal.
Oh, it is that's pretty if that wasn't evident just now, then I don't know what. That's awesome. But is there anything else you got? Is there anything you got going on, Kevin?
I mean, nothing new. I mean, I'm working 5 days a week on tattoo machines most weeks, and just staying busy. I mean,
cool.
I'm always working on something new because every week is a different batch of stuff.
Yeah, it's good to be busy.
You should be ready to retire now.
I mean, retirement insinuates that there's something I'd rather do.
Yeah, you're right.
As long as I can still do it and I still enjoy it, it's still worth doing.
Yeah, man. Agreed.
You're right. Exactly. Is there something that people ask for you more than other things, or is there something like is there one particular standout special thing that somebody's asked for you in recent memory?
I mean, every couple of months or every couple of years, there's a different person that tattooers are interested in who use a machine from me, and so there will become some little micro trend where I'll get a bump in orders for a specific type of thing because people are like, oh, I saw what you did for so and so, can you make me that? So I surely have patterns that emerge that are like that. Right now I've been building, this week I have 4 machines that are all for people who are interested in doing blackout tattoos because I've built a couple of machines for local guy Hoodie that doing the blackouts and people believe that maybe if they get the machine, it'll come with the expertise.
Yeah.
I have a lengthy I have a lengthy form email that I send out anytime somebody asks me about the blackout tattoos because I want to be very, very, very clear to them that I don't think the machine is what is the secret, that they're not going to get
right.
they're not going to all of a sudden be able to tattoo somebody's arm entirely black in one sitting if they get this machine. But
yeah, there's factors like pigment and machine speed, hand speed.
I mean, just
how
sheer
well the person's
ability.
hit. Yeah. What would be the big difference between something that you would use for blackouts and just like, you know, everyday whip shader or whatever? Is there like much of a difference or anything subtle?
There's no real difference. You know, I mean, the particular machine that that I'm building for that is, you know, fairly typical in every way. Like, and that's what my little form email says, is that you already have 3 machines in your drawer that do the exact same thing. There's nothing different about this one. It's really like, you know, a very average all around machine.
Right.
You know, people just underestimate stretching. You know, that's my main recommendation for people who are like, I saw what Hoodie was doing, hoping the machine would allow me to do that. And I'd be like, well, you know, the stretching is probably more than anything else.
You got to get a guy that stretches. Was it like a long time? Well, I mean, I've seen like, I'm pretty sure I've seen a picture of like, I think it was Greg Irons tattooing, and there was definitely like a dude stretching for.
I mean, it wasn't that unusual for like a back piece when you were doing an acetate stencil, because you couldn't put your hand in a lot of the places. So like you see some of those pictures of like, you know, like Spalding doing DeVita's back or something like that. A lot of times there's a second person pulling on the shoulder because they don't want to ruin the acetate stencil.
Yeah. I wonder if that's going to become a thing now that we just put it out there in the universe. Like, the next thing you know, you'll see like people advertising.
Gloves cost too much now.
Oh, we need a stretcher. You know, can you come in like no apprentices, but we're not gonna apprentice you, teach you how to tattoo, but we definitely need somebody to come stretch this fucking skin out. You know, so stretch this fool's back out for me.
No, people don't stretch anymore. They just use a 4.5 millimeter throw and let the needle do all the stretching.
Yeah. I got like my hand, you know how jacked my hand is and stuff, but like I have like the cool thing is like when I make a line, I always use like my thumb to stretch. I like call it the shelf, but the one thing cool about it is it's like double jointed, and like I can make like a really long line because it's like fucked up. Nobody knows about that shit. Like, and it's important. Like, you know, if you're working between your fingers or if you're gripping up behind somebody's arm like that, which I can't do anymore because I'm so used to the shelf. But what do they do? Like you tattoo, you got a fucking a sandwich in the other hand or a soda. You're just like not stretching nothing. Is that how it works?
No, I still stretched.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah. You grip from the behind, like back here or whatever.
On an arm?
You know, like like the behind stretch.
Yeah, I'll grab it and I'll run. Yeah.
Okay.
Paper towel.
Remember that old Nicky Sharp saying, "More power to your elbow." So it's what comes out of here. It's like when I pull my lines, I'm like this, like open-handed. Like I like small stuff. I'll lock the thumbs, like how you do, and like follow it.
Yeah.
But like when I'm doing arms, legs, calves, it's all like here. It's all, you can feel it, like elbow. Yeah. So you could just pull that line for days.
Yeah. I think we're giving away too much. You think? I don't know. Maybe.
More power to your elbow. I'd like to.
So
I mean, we got to give it away or it disappears.
That's all right though. If it disappears, it disappears. What are you gonna do? We've had our fun.
I'm of the mindset that that the secrets don't help. You know, if you know, we gotta help younger folks do it better and find out about the interesting stuff. You know.
Yeah. I think like just giving away everything is like kind of like, you know, oh man, I saw this really good movie. This is how it ended. You know, so it's like instead of like, you know, because nobody's gonna give a shit about the fucking movie that you just, you know, that you just saw, that you just told them the end about. But it's their journey to figure it out. You know, it's like it's up to them to figure out like what's good and what's not good, and for them to earn experience instead of just having it handed to them. You know, so like secrets or whatever. You know, like, oh my god, everything's out there anyway. But you know, where is it? You know, it's all for people to find. Like, you have to find it. You have to seek it. You have to want it. You know, like you gotta know what happened at the end of Goonies, man. You gotta watch the fucking movie and find out. It's like, so that's to me, like, you know.
Yeah, you gotta enjoy the journey.
Like, not really giving away anything.
Did you ever see the octopus version of Goonies?
I didn't.
I was watching. Yeah, there's an octopus version.
Is there?
You got to watch that one.
Now that you put that
all the people are octopuses that act in it.
No, the finale at the end includes octopus attack.
Dude,
oh, well, then I don't have to watch it now.
Yeah, but I'm saying he made the little trail of breadcrumbs.
The secret.
Nothing wrong with that. That's awesome.
I went bowling at the Goonies bowling alley one time too.
The Goonies bowling. Oh.
In the opening scene of Goonies, Chunk smashes his milkshake on the window after playing video games in the bowling alley.
Yeah. And you bowled there?
I did. I went bowling there one time.
Amazing.
It's in Astoria, Oregon.
This conversation has taken a turn.
I mean, when you're traveling, you have to stop at all of the Goonies landmarks.
My internet's acting up.
So if like, you know, so, you know, Michael Jackson never came to my house to take a piss, but his sister did.
Which sister?
Exactly. LaToya, hopefully. Anyways, we should probably be wrapping up soon. Are we wrapping up soon? Because I got people to tattoo and stuff.
Gabe
Fair
quit.
enough. It's lunchtime.
Gabe peaced out.
Gabe quit. This is all day podcast. Just all day.
So anyways, what are you guys doing now?
You're stuck right here all
Taking
day.
a dump?
Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me all day. The podcast.
This is just going to be a cam. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, where
you
do you
guys
go?
done? We can end it.
Can we
That's
though?
all right.
Hey,
Yeah.
why don't you, Kevin? Why don't you give a shout out to all your homies or whatever people do when they end podcasts, and tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find machines and stuff, and we'll get we'll get it started that way.
I do tattoos 2 days a week at Studio One Tattoo in scenic Delaware County, Pennsylvania. And you can find me on the internet by searching Kevin Riley Tattoos. You'll find it.
Fair enough. And Greg DiGiacinto. If you go on Instagram, it's Veritas MFG, means manufacturing or motherfucking Greg. Either way, hit me up if you want a machine. I'm pretty freaking low key these days. I tattoo a lot, and I like to build machines for people that want good machines. So that'd be cool. Hit me up. Let me know what's up. It's my buddy Tone. We do this thing like once a month, or at least we try to get it once a month. try to have some, you know, fun content and really, really, really killer tattoo machine builders. And I feel like it doesn't really need to be said that like Kevin is a super, super killer tattoo machine builder. And we were lucky enough to have him on our show twice. And we were just saying it's been a year since you were on here. And if you were willing, it should be more, because we always have good conversations with you. We kind of open up little avenues that aren't usually you know, traveled down, you know. So thanks for coming, and there you go. The D.
Yeah.
The D, and
That's cool. Yeah, I learned a lot today from you, Kev. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Keep up the good work.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make a couple of binding posts out of this week.
oh yeah, cool. Yeah,
Maybe a more interesting way to put it to use.
yeah, that's awesome.
Keep your door
Well, thanks for coming.
propped open.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it.
What happened to
Thanks
Gabe?
a lot.
Like, what is going on with Gabe? Did he just go take a dump or something? Where's he at?
That's all right. He's busy.
He's busy. Whatever. All right. Well, Tone, why don't you tell us about your
I am
convention?
Tony Urbanek. Yeah, July 29th to 31st, Akron, Ohio, at the John S. Knight Convention Center. Putting on a tattoo convention. Yeah, I got bad internet, man.
Yeah.
We still here? My internet's horrible, dude.
I'm here.
You're gonna have to write that on a piece of paper and hold it up.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.
I guess
I'm done. Bye.
All right. How do you even get out of this anyway? Later. Leave.